Well, I can honestly say that I don't know what they're gonna do, but I know that Keno that get arrested tend to, not fare well. Rumors kind of swirl, but that's the sort of situation that we try to avoid.
Yeah, swirl like water.
And you hear from the other side, actively avoid.
What the fuck options do we have?
I think it did. Camera died.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
I have a charger, I think.
But anything else you guys are doing in the cell in the meantime?
Just trying nothing we can do.
Doesn't seem to be much.
No. Well, what can we do?
All right.
I want to go to the random pee bucket in my cell.
So inaction or action gets us in trouble with these guys, and we're like, well, "What the fuck do you want us to do, bro?"
They just want us to not exist, essentially.
Okay, let us get off the planet, then we won't exist anymore.
Yeah, or they should have just put a bullet in our heads when they denied our presence.
Risk.
Yeah, pretty much. Get it over with.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kennel's code for dead.
It seems like there's, it is a different,
You have a USB
jarring
jack
different tradition,
outlet.
kind of. But through the next hour, just nothing, and eventually, just more of the
That's gonna get annoying.
Ever-present sound of
the ever-present, the slap of imprisonment.
Slap in prison.
Love it.
You do eventually have two pair of Callow arrive, and from the other room you hear the.
That's the sound of them like activating the door locks.
There's some very odd noises with all of their construction. But eventually you are all taken out of the cells, all 6 of you.
One has been shot.
No,
harpooned
you
up
are
the anus.
taken, however, from the holding area to what appears to be, in effect, a kind of smaller scale version of the room that you presented your Proto-Ekphrasia in. It's kind of a half-circle amphitheater, only like 2 rows now, but you see some very stern-looking Callow sitting behind, and you see one very large kind of like Callow standing behind what appears to be a platform. He's got a very regal kind of looking breathing apparatus on, and he kind of looks, step forward.
To everybody?
Yep.
Okay. I
And
step
they
forward.
are
I'm gonna
all-
try and, as we're like moving into here and being led into here and seeing all this happen, I'm gonna try and just like recognize what's going on and get Soren's attention just subtly as we're moving and like give him like a purposeful like look.
Okay. All right. So you just kind of give him just a sort of little look. And you guys are all like kind of led, 3 by 3. The 2 up front with Ziddix are Chase and Theta 3, and the large Callow kind of standing, at the front of the room with the kind of seats behind. All of them filled. There's about 2 dozen Callow in the room. Kind of.
How large is that Callow?
This Callow is actually like 6 foot.
He's my size.
So he's
like
a
2 feet
taller in Callow size, but the
It is my size too.
large kind of like set of regal breathing apparatus and like the uniform that
Big
he's
set
wearing
of
seems to
regal,
signify some sort of station of authority. And the Callow, you have been accused of breaking our traditions. You, Keno, have attempted to overstay your welcome. You just hear kind of just a long, drawn-out silence before he starts talking. You two stand accused of interfering with our traditions, and he's kind of now looking at Theta 3 and the Chase. You have assisted against the wishes of the Kalo, this group of Kano. And you see just like Chase about to start say something, and then you just like see Theta 3 just kind of give him a side glance, and he just kind of... You will be exiled from the planet, and you will not be allowed to return. And he kind of like motions for those two to kind of step aside. You four, step forward. As you all are kind of like put in a line.
Yep.
That's how you do it, Sarah.
Okay. Just draw my book.
You were offered the chance to prove your proto-ekphrasi. You were found wanting. You were offered the chance to leave. You have the opportunity to explain why you are still here. Why you seem to shirk traditions in a land that is not your own.
That's exactly what we were trying to do. Was
We were trying to leave.
There was you kind of locked down all systems once we were made Kano. We couldn't access any of your services, and nobody would help us leave.
Yeah, it's like you don't want us here, but
You don't honor our traditions.
how can we?
We
leave?
honored by doing what was asked of us,
You were found wanting.
and then we were hastily on our way out.
We acquired a way out, and we're just trying to get our other friends out. So then you wouldn't have to deal with us anymore, and we would be out of your hair forever.
And why, pray tell, then, was this one found trying to escape and actively fighting with one of the guards?
You what?
I didn't know about
I
that.
didn't know.
He attacked me. I was in the tunnels trying to get to the ship that'll
I
take us out of here.
assume my friend Soren was trying to find the way that we told him about to get him to us, because they were unable to hitch a ride how we got to our ship.
Yeah,
And we told him about this Chase and Theta 3 would help provide transport back to the ship where we were.
through yeah.
There was
And
no
I guess
other
through
way
those
for
tunnels.
us to get back to our ship because all other access points were shut down from us.
I'm gonna have you and you roll a diplomacy check.
Okay, I know that they're making their diplomacy checks. Just after this happens and we get the results, I want to.
Hey,
19.
19?
19.
19? Okay, what were you saying?
Okay.
No, did you?
I just I have something that I'm gonna initiate if it needs to happen. So I'm just kind of seeing how this plays out for a second here. Since they're actively trying something and making a roll for it.
There's a very long kind of pause, and you hear just a slow kind of like murmur in the crowd behind. The Calica turns. What traditions do you honor?
Are you asking me specifically?
He's looking right at you.
I don't know if you're familiar with the Shirin race. Are you?
You are not the first Shirin to visit Kalamoy.
That's good to know. I wouldn't know. I've never been outside my planet, as far as I could tell, because I just recently woke up in a stasis chamber on a ship adrift in space
With us.
with these 3 other companions of mine.
There's a very kind of like active. There's like a louder kind of like murmur back and forth, and he just seems to just be staring at you. No change in his expression. But
So Shirins really pride themselves on being very individual, like being individuals. Since we broke away from the hive. So we know that every chance I get to choose something for myself, I take that opportunity. That's a tradition that I hold dear.
And this uniqueness that you hold dear, this you try to do in all things, correct?
As much as I can.
So this is something that you feel is important to you. And
I'd die for it, yes.
So you seem to understand then that traditions are important.
Yes, and I was unfamiliar with your customs. And sorry we couldn't come up with something better for you to actually appreciate.
I'm gonna step forward a little bit.
All right. So his gaze kind of turns from you, seeming to be, end of that question chain, as Tet now moves forward.
And I just kind of like turn and survey everybody in the room a little bit. Say,
Great. Hello. Nice to be here today. Great Kahlo assembled here before us. The 4 of us, 5, including this Kahlo here, 6. All of us on this platform here. I've learned much on my short stay on your planet about your traditions. And I recognize that we may be Kenno in your eyes at this moment. And if we are given a chance to prove ourselves, let us be the first Kenno in existence in all of Kahlo history to submit to you into your culture, us ourselves as people. We give our lives and our pledge to share with you all of our grand discoveries and to contribute to your culture, the other cultures we discover and interact with. Let us be your liaison to the rest of the universe.
You're allowed kind of back and forth now as you roll a diplomacy check.
Also,
oh my god. I have a -2, so let's hope this is good.
What'd you get?
2.
It's a total of 3.
Total of 3?
I throw him a little psychic message too. Is like, maybe try and sweeten the pot with our corporate connections. No, you don't think that would?
So there's
Why
a
is
lot.
Ted
There's a
shaking
lot
his
of
head?
there's a lot of
He's like,
back
no,
and
that didn't
forth.
work.
Because I'm nervous.
Yeah.
And you see the caller hold up his hand, and the talking kind of ceases. And what, pray tell, will keep you from honoring this pledge? Clearly, honor in any faculty here is questionable. Being Kenno.
I speak up. It's like, well, for one, we know the parameters of this pledge, whereas before we were unfamiliar and ignorant of the pledges we made as Kenno. This time, like I said, we know specifics, so we'll better be able to honor it.
So you feel that you need to be told everything. You need to be explained everything beforehand, not to find this out for yourself, not to take the initiative.
Sometimes the greatest learning experiences are our failures. If your life is only success, then how do you ever learn anything with just ease? We did encounter a little bit of difficulty being here with you, but sometimes difficulty leads to learning experiences and new ways of communication between 2 parties.
Especially between two cultures unfamiliar with each other, or multiple cultures unfamiliar with each other. Sometimes being direct is the best way.
Diplomacy check from you. Yours is already in.
Yeah, I'm just, if I need to.
11.
11?
Yep.
Alright. And you hear just like their very lightest kind of like, as like Chase is like clapping his hands. His like hands are like chained together, or like they're manacled together. So he's just kind of like, it's more like just a side thing. It unfortunately sounds a lot like the bars. It's more of like a.
We can't escape. We'll never escape.
Raul!
How'd you get in here? He's in the crowd like,
Theta 3 is just like staring at Chase, and he's just like, "Well, that was a good speech."
Theta 3 has to cry at that. He gets emotional with busts of sculptures and stuff.
It was beautiful. There's a kind of murmur back and forth. In Kahlo, you see the majority of the Kahlo seem to be kind of in a heated kind of discussion, and the one in the center seems to be now like leaning backwards. He's close to kind of like the edge. As the talking kind of dies down, one of them like leans into like speaking in like kind of a hushed tone, and there's a kind of a long pause. Kind of looks, kind of leans back forward and is kind of assuming a stance. The slights against our traditions are not easily shaken. It is a tradition that extends all the way to the Gap. And anything post-Gap is essentially the culture that we know. As I'm sure all of you are aware, time lost is the greatest thing that could possibly become an absolute tragedy to anyone. It feels the uncertainty, the not knowing seems to grip you, but
You understand better than most.
I think he was
your
talking about
words have some weight to them. I feel this pledge could possibly redeem you if you gotta, as he's about to say if, there's a kind of a opening of the door behind you as like some Kahlo kind of like is walking in, and you hear just like the kind of murmured kind of tones as he has a very kind of like angry look on his face, and you see one of the guards kind of like walk up, and you see him kind of like lean in, and just kind of a hushed murmur. There's a long kind of like drawn out pause. He kind of like leans in, talks, and the guy walks out, and he kind of looks. It seems that fate itself has provided you with an opportunity.
that being.
It appears that there is a situation developing at one of the, and he kind of motions over to Chase, mutual research stations here on Kalamohoy.
Yeah, is this pertaining to the photobacteria?
And he kind of looks at you. There's a kind of like a slight pause. The subject of their research aside, communication has ceased, and the last message was that of perplexing origin.
We'll get to the bottom of this.
What is it you require from us?
We will certainly fill you in on the details. For reaching the Abyss station is, well, let's just say it's a less than safe journey, but
My already like ashy white kind of fur, like the visible skin around, like I just pale as much as I can. I'm just like, oh god, oh no, we're going deeper.
redemption, it seems, not only extends to you two, as it has come to our attention that a certain set of individuals have the means to reach the crushing depths. He kind of looks over at Theta 3 and Chase, and Theta 3 is just like, no, please, no, just exile us, please. No. And you hear Chase just kind of like, he's like chuckling.
You should have joined the Starfinder Society then, Theta 3. You know this was a joint venture seeking this stuff out.
He looks at you and he's like, if it takes 1,000 years, I will find a way to get you back for this. And he's looking at you.
What the fuck did I do to this guy? I'm just like trying to live my life and he's got it out for me.
You need a villain. You need a villain.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
It's
I've
not.
got
It's not.
villains in the
It's
call
not
already.
It's not a hero villain relationship. It seems that there seems to be some serious animosity. Maybe one sided, but
He hates Raz.
Okay.
it's hard to say.
That's fine.
Racist.
Racist, God damn it. And the Kahlo kind of steps down. He kind of motions to the guards to unbind your manacles, and they all kind of fall away.
My moat to brighten up a little bit now that we're free.
And he kind of motions, follow me.
Let's follow.
Before I leave, I give him the
Kind of bow.
Yeah.
You kind of, you will have this potential honor depending on the outcome of this situation. And he leads you out of the room, and that's where we'll actually pick up next time.
Do we get our weapons back?
You'll find out next time.